Hello everyone. In today's Command vs. DCS, we're going to be exploring the intercept capabilities of the MiG-19. Now, the MiG-19 is a pretty neat airplane because it's sort of one of those transition airplanes between the MiG-15, MiG-17, and the more modern and very capable MiG-21. The aircraft does have a rudimentary search radar. It also has a decent ranging radar. Its weapon systems are okay, and its range is garbage. So in the scenario we have here, basically we're sitting over here in Tbilisi, Georgia, and we're keeping an eye out for incoming enemy bombers. To make things a little interesting today, you can see from my little mouse is that the weather is very, very rough. So that means it's going to make it very, very interesting for us to do an engagement. Also, the enemy bomber is going to be coming in at a relatively low altitude, which means we're not going to get a lot of early warnings. So fingers crossed as far as the way that works out. So anyway, let's go ahead and get things rolling. Zoom out a little bit, and let's go. Pause. All right, it looks like we have identified some sort of bogey over in this distance. What do we have as far as this range goes? That's about 96 nautical miles away. We'll go ahead and order up an intercept. Looks good. Scoot down. We'll add a pair of MiG-19. I know these are technically Farmers F6As, but they work perfectly well for our particular purposes here. We'll go ahead and enable them to use the radar as soon as they need to. We'll add that unit on the map, and we'll go ahead and let it go. Having a pretty tough time tracking that target, which really does not surprise me. Hopefully these guys got the notice. Yep, they're going to be in the air in about 2 minutes. Okay, off they go. So if I know anything about B-52s, this B-52 is probably flying at extremely low altitude. Let's go ahead and get our 3D view going. And zoom in on our nice MiG-19s and let them do what they do. Now the MiG-19 was designed pretty much from the ground up as an interceptor. It has a gigantic 30mm cannon on it. It can carry different types of air-to-air missiles, particularly the RS-3, I want to call them. And I don't know that you can carry an R-60 at any point, which would be kind of nice, but it's pretty much the limit. This aircraft was replaced almost too quickly. That being said, there's still a couple of these kicking around in places like North Korea and stuff like that. So anyway, we have a pretty good idea of where the B-52 is. We probably don't know exactly what altitude the B-52 is because the type of radar that we're using to spot it. Go ahead and speed up time a little bit here. Now our two MiG-19s are at maximum altitude, and I'm looking and cheating a little bit, and you can see our B-52 is only 6,000 feet off the ground. So as a result, chances are our two MiG-19s are going to scoot right over the top of them, even if they were of really, really good quality. Remember, there's severe weather here, making it virtually impossible for them to see straight down. Because I think, yeah, there's nothing but moderate clouds, and that's going to make it very interesting for us. This B-52 is going to have a heck of a time attacking its target, but on the flip side, I don't know that we're actually going to be able to see them to do a successful intercept. Taking a look here, it looks like that's going to be the case. Yeah, we're going to fly right over the top before they can get reacquired. Yeah, I had a feeling that's going to happen. So these guys are now arcing around. I'm actually going to help them out a little bit and bring them down to low altitude. Maybe it'll make it just a little bit easier to spot that pesky B-52 again. Now we're hoping at any moment that the early warning radar will be able to identify where that B-52 just went, but there's no promises. And again, that's kind of the challenge here, especially when you have inclement weather, but this is also a very realistic scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and order them to the front of the possibility circle here. And we're going to cross our fingers that they get a look at that B-52. Set you guys down at minimum altitude. That's where we think the B-52 is, but I'm sure it's... Shoot. Go. Uh-oh. We whiffed. Alright, these guys are going to get as much speed as they possibly can. We'll just set it to automatic. Normally, we wouldn't want to be flying at this low altitude with afterburners in this particular aircraft. As you'll see in DCS, the thing will start buffeting terribly. A nice little fun problem in DCS that we're going to face also is the fact that we're probably going to lose some of our ordnance because we're going to rotate too quickly and it'll actually snap fuel tanks off. So again, it's a difference between DCS and the real world kind of a deal. Yeah, if we brought them up a little bit higher, we probably could get it going a little faster. But we have a pretty good idea of where our opponent is at this particular point. Zoom in just a little bit. Yeah, we can definitely see an attack view now. Hopefully we're not this bad at this at DCS. Chances are I'll spot him pretty early and sneak right up to him. And we're climbing, picking up a little bit more speed there. There's the target. Ooh, it might actually get through and drop its bombs. Now, in the real world, the B-52, this particular model, actually has a rear-facing cannon. We do not have that ability over in regular DCS. So that's probably going to result in a shoot down here, but we'll see what happens. Well, it looks like he's going for it first. Oh man, look at that angle. Now, if I were this guy, I'd be trying to lock him up with air-to-air missiles. Keep in mind, in command, you're not going to be able to attack with air-to-air missiles because of the limitation of altitude. At this height, the reflection of the ground from energy would just be too high. So I can see from here that he's using his 30mm cannon, which honestly, it's the best part of the MiG-19, other than its unbelievable climb right. So he just overshot a little bit. Hopefully his buddy's sneaking up behind him. See, let's look from the B-52's perspective. You can see he's going nice and wide, doing his little yo-yo. I'm sure the B-52 is firing up at him the whole time. Meanwhile, our other buddy is flying down here. Let's grab him real quick. He's diving. I would love to use air-to-air missiles in situations like this, but you'll never get a lock. All right, let's hope he doesn't get shot down by the B-52, which is probably how this is going to end. I think he overshot it just a little tiny bit. Oh, MiG-19 took a hit. I gotta watch out for that tail gun. It's very effective. Keep in mind, in DCS, we'll be able to fire our missiles at that distance. It looks like both of my MiG-19s were crippled by the B-52's tail gun. So that's pretty much the end of that, but we don't want to leave it without a little bit of fun. So let's go ahead and get ourselves, let's get an SA-23 to end this quickly. That guy, fire. Yeah, this B-52 is literally cutting those MiG-19s into tiny pieces. And we lost one. That's so embarrassing. Oh, that's rough. That is really, really rough. Not as rough as these Mach 6 missiles that are about to show up any second. Ooh, looks like one of them missed. That low altitude stuff is just making those missiles not work. I'm glad this MiG-19 keeps going at it. Hopefully we don't struggle with the same thing over DCS. We'll see. We'll see. Incredible. Incredible. All right, anytime now. Our MiG-19 is still going up. Nope, MiG-19 got shot down. B-52 swinging around to try to make an attack run. And for some reason, our SA-23 decided not to do anything. I mean, come on, people. Look at the ranges we're dealing with here. Come on. No, that is very, very interesting. It looks like our B-52 has accomplished its mission despite all this. All right, let's find out what happens over in DCS. All right, here we are over in DCS, sitting nice and comfortably in our beautiful MiG-19 here. This is an incredible, incredible aircraft for 1960. I find this thing's kind of neat as far as if you're looking for something that gives you a different kind of experience, but in general you're going to be spending more time in other airplanes than you are in this one. But let's make do with what we have here, kind of a thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get ourselves in the air. Pretty straightforward. I love how you can press this button and then there's a separate button to actually activate the afterburner. You know, I get such a kick out of that. Just such a different way of managing that kind of a system. Now, one of the things that's great about this aircraft is because it's an interceptor, it takes very little room to actually get airborne. Wow, we got some really bad wind today. And that's it, we're airborne. That's incredible. Bring up my landing gear, go ahead and bring up my flaps as well. And we are on our way. Now, I've set up AWACS to be on channel 2 of our little button radio device over on that side, but I've had a little bit of trouble to try to actually get it to behave. So we're going to do the best we can by cheating a bit using the global map here to see if we can track our targets down. You can see we have pretty much the same weather conditions as we had over in command. The traffic, just thinking. Yeah, the clouds in command I think are a little denser than this, but I did this scenario one time earlier where I experimented with having the clouds be really, really thick, like overcast. And yeah, if you don't see sharp, you see fit, if you know what I mean. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and take ourselves pretty much at full afterburner in the general direction that we're expecting that B-52 to be in. Now, we're packing a couple drop tanks as well as a couple air-to-air missiles. Now, if you remember over in command, we were not able to use those air-to-air missiles at those sorts of altitudes, which is kind of unfortunate because they're pretty decent air-to-air missiles, really, if you aim them in a straight line. The other thing that... What? What? How did you know that was there? I'm not going to question. I'm just going to kind of go for it. Bring ourselves a little bit to the left here. Straighten ourselves out. We're just going to get this thing all nice and neatly trimmed out. This is another one of those aircraft that requires a lot of trim to behave properly. Let's go ahead and get our weapon systems nice and ready here. Flip over on this side. Definitely need to get that ready. Start warming up our radar here. Make sure it's set to night mode, and we are good to go. There's our little targeting reticle. I can adjust the size real quick if I want to. I kind of like it to be an intermediate size. Looks pretty good. Now, we do not know the altitude of the target we're going to be engaging, so we're just going to kind of cruise upwards here and level off and kind of plan from there. Now, one thing that's really terrifying in this aircraft that isn't modeled in command is the fact if I do a sudden roll maneuver, I'm going to lose a fuel tank. So we have to try really, really hard not to overstress the aircraft as we fly it, which means I have to actually fly correctly for once, which is no fun at all. We're sporting labels again today, again to simulate the AWACS, which is not the AWACS. Keep in mind that would also be more accurate to what we normally see in command. All right, this feels like it's a pretty good altitude. I'm going to go ahead and roll ourselves back to level. You never want those negative G's. They're tremendously uncomfortable in the real world. And we are good to go. Go ahead and back that throttle out. And that's that. Let's start preparing for our engagement. Go ahead and arm my first cannon. Good. Arm my second cannon. Good. And we are all set. It's just like on the MiG-21. Okay. We are keeping an eye out for apparently a B-52 traveling at relatively low altitude. So this could be an interesting exercise in futility if we don't get a little bit of guidance from the ground. This thing is just so difficult. I mean, look behind me. That's not terrible. Go ahead and level myself out real quick here. About 275. Where's my airspeed right now? We're doing pretty good. Also notice our incredible altitude, which we've climbed in basically seconds. It's really, really impressive of an aircraft. We're getting about 900 kilometers an hour true. Swing to the right just a teeny tiny bit. And we're pretty much ready to go. Go ahead and square that off real fast. Try to get this thing level. These old jets are such a project to try to trim out. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go flip up the emergency jettison button here because we're going to need that as soon as we do our initial dive. Let's check the radar to make sure it's working properly. Nope, still warming up. Looks good. That's not going to do much because I'm not actually looking out the window. That's the way I want that to be. That looks pretty good. Guns are ready to go. We're climbing again. Go ahead and descend just a teeny tiny bit. Not that we're going to be able to use the radar for anything, as you'll probably see when we get to low altitudes. All right, let's go ahead and check out with our quote AWACS. This should be looking very familiar. Let's see here. Looks like the target is 264, 51 nautical miles. 51 nautical mile, travel 900, carry the one. It's about a minute and a quarter. So that's going to be a pretty quick engagement. Let's just swing to our left just a little bit. This thing is surprisingly smooth given its age. Check our fuel. Are we still burning stuff out of the fuel tanks? Yep, look on the right-hand side. Yeah, so that little green light right here will actually flick on when the drop tanks have completely emptied out. Just kind of giving us a heads up that it's time to get rid of them. It's actually a nice system. I kind of wish they had that in some of the other aircraft. Anyway, off we go. Go ahead and take a look at our current intercept situation. 264. All right, this is an intercept. Let's go. Military power is engaged. Let's let everything heat up a little bit. Afterburners on. Now we're in business. Now this thing has a surprisingly quick acceleration despite its age. Take a look down here. We're doing 1,000 kilometers an hour. Remember, 1,200 kilometers an hour is about Mach 1. We're going to start buffeting pretty hard before we get to that point, though. That reminds me. All right, we're getting shook around real good right now, but that's okay. Oh, we just busted supersonic. If you look at my altimeter and my vertical speed indicator, just freaked out a little bit. All right, we are now moving. Let's take a look at our intercept situation. All right, we're going to have to start our dive to attack our target 33 nautical miles away. That is a little under 30 seconds. Going to go ahead and reduce my power again. All right, here we go. Nice and easy. Oh man, does this thing need a lot of rudder. All right, oh boy, all the change just went leaking out of my pockets. Again, that roll maneuver was just to prevent me from having to do negative G's. Bring my throttle all the way to 0, and we need to really, really start looking around for that hostile. Keep in mind, he's still 33 nautical miles away. Taking a look around. Pull up just a teeny tiny bit. Don't pull up too much or we'll lose one of the drop tanks. We don't want to do that if we can help it. We have no idea what altitude the hostile is at, so we're going to keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. Bring my engines back up again. I feel so bad for these old engines. I know how they operate. Looks pretty good. Alright, keep an eye out. I still don't know how my teammate was able to spot that guy at such long range. That's just like absurd. Take a look at my airspeed. 1,000 kilometers an hour is more than quick enough. I'm going to do one of these things. It's not really helping. He's out there somewhere. Maybe he's lower than I expected him to be. I thought I saw something. Nope. I thought I saw something. It was nothing. I'm looking around. I want to make sure he doesn't get by me if I can help it. Doesn't look like it. Man, the cloud. There he is. Keep in mind we're cheating a little bit with labels, but this is simply simulating the unbelievably good data link capabilities that you get over in Command. All right, let's go tell our flight. Go ahead and cover me. I'm going to switch over to our air-to-air missiles. Go ahead and flip on our radar systems. Not that they're going to work, because they're just going to be jammed to bejesus. Going to dump off our 2 fuel tanks. Level. Sweet, let's do it. Fight's on. Yeah, I see him. Not going to do anything too silly here. This is a little tough for this aircraft. Alright, we had just a little bit too much speed here, but that's alright. Oh boy, those G's are crushing me in my seat. Alright, there he is. Hit it. Afterburners on. Come on. Gotta wait until the engine spools up enough energy to actually kick on the afterburners. Alright, we got a lock. And never gonna make that shot. And remember, easy. Come on. Oop, too early. Hit him on a one wing. Make my pass. He's smoking. That doesn't mean we got him though. What do you mean negative? Do I have any shells left in this thing? Yeah, I got a couple. I'm gonna have to come back around again. How bad is he burning there? Whoop! That's track AI for you. I'm having a real tough time with this. There he is. Just a teeny tiny tug. Again, unbelievably maneuverable for its age. Come on. I think I can get a missile shot with that. Nope. Hey, that did it. Whoops. Holy smokes. Now, if he had his tail gun, he would have cut me in two. But at least some of the guys did get out. All right, hopefully that was enlightening. I thought that was kind of an interesting experience as far as using the MiG-19 in this way. Interesting differences between these two games, but again, pretty cool. Enjoy.